it's just that life is complicated, and Democrats need to be less emotional and more focused. Now, should the Washington Commanders be forced to go back to the name Redskins? Probably not, but, Indians are hip.
All right, let's just dive straight into the fire here, because Bill Maher didn't just drop a hot take. He launched a full-blown truth missile, and it landed. Democrats scattered. Woke Twitter probably still in meltdown mode. This might be Maher's most savage takedown yet, and honestly, it was long overdue. So here's the deal. Life's complicated. Politics, even more so. But somehow, in the middle of all this complexity, the Democratic Party keeps choosing emotional tantrums over rational focus.
Speaking of little shits, Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon famously said that the way you win is to flood the zone with shit. You want to help him with that? Great, you do you. But I'm not chasing every brain fart down the rabbit hole.
And Maher, he's not here for the melodrama. He's not screaming into the void because Trump put sugar back in Coca-Cola. He's not foaming at the mouth over fruit dye and Fruit Loops. And no, he's not obsessing over every Trump tweet like it's a national emergency. Because guess what? That's not the job. That's not what grown-ups do. Maher isn't defending Trump, let's get that straight, but he is calling out the left for treating every minor Trump move like it's the end of democracy.
Greenland? I'm sorry, I just can't. I'm sorry. I never thought about it before. I can't start now. Reopening Alcatraz? Oh, for fuck's sake, open it on Greenland for all I care.
And that's exactly what he did on his latest episode. With his classic smirk and signature sarcasm, Maher served up a brutal reality check to the DNC, the legacy media, and every blue-checked activist who can't stop shaking over Diet Coke ingredients.
Bill, he's gonna put the sugar back in Coca-Cola. Yeah, I don't give a shit. I care about as much about that as I do Meghan Markle's new skincare routine.
And it starts with this. Not everything Trump does is worth losing your mind over. Let's be real. Trump wins the White House again, and suddenly it's DEFCON 1 on the left. You've got people on MSNBC acting like the apocalypse is upon us. CNN's got live panels for hours breaking down why Trump ordering a Diet Coke is a microaggression. But here's Maher, standing in the middle of the fire, sipping his coffee, going, yeah, I'm not freaking out over that. Why? Because he sees the bigger picture. And if more people did, we might actually have a functional political climate again. One guy even came up to Maher and said, Bill, aren't you outraged that Bobby Kennedy removed the dye from Fruit Loops? Like, seriously? This is your moment? The government tweaks cereal ingredients and suddenly we're acting like healthcare got canceled?
Let's take stock of the first half of the first year of Trump's second term and make some rational decisions about what to lose our shit over and what not to. Because, a guy came up to me the other day and he said, Bill, I know you're a guy who cares about health. You must be incensed that Bobby Kennedy took the dye out of Fruit Loops and now the whole administration is acting like they solved the health crisis. I'm not incensed. I'm sure you're right, I just don't have room.
Look, if your entire worldview can be shaken by food coloring, maybe it's time to log off and go touch some grass. The Democrats, Maher argues, are obsessed, and not in a fun, harmless way. No, this is full-blown, toxic, can't stop talking about my ex level obsession. Trump could cure cancer tomorrow, and they'd scream about job losses in oncology. He could discover a renewable energy source that powers the entire planet, and they'd rage about how it would hurt the fossil fuel industry. Which, wait, isn't that their usual complaint? And Maher, he's had enough. He's not joining your Number Resist book club. He's not posting 5-paragraph think pieces on Trump's latest press conference. He's watching, yes, but he's saving his outrage for the things that actually matter. You want to talk about things that deserve criticism? Let's go there. Turning the Environmental Protection Agency into the Pollution Protection Agency, yeah, that's a problem. Stripping away healthcare coverage while racking up more national debt, that's worth debating. Transforming the Justice Department into a personal revenge agency. Firing inspector generals, possibly the head of the Federal Reserve.
So therefore, here is my 1/8 of the term scorecard for what actually matters. Turning the Environmental Protection Agency into the Pollution Protection Agency, yes, that's gonna matter. All the people who will lose health care and all the debt that will be run up from the big, beautiful bill, yes, that matters. turning the Justice Department into the National Revenge Agency, firing all the inspector generals, maybe firing the head of the Federal Reserve, letting Doge destroy lives here and abroad in a way that didn't have to go down like that in order to slim the government down, which it didn't do anyway.
That matters. Or how about putting billions into deportation forces while people with zero criminal records who've lived here for decades get scooped up and sent to detention centers? Yeah, that's nightmare fuel.
Creating a domestic army of masked troops, rounding people up and sending them off to detention centers and foreign prisons. Yeah, the big, beautiful bill has $150 billion in it for additional spending for snatching people up who've lived here peacefully and productively for decades, mostly with no criminal records. I'm just saying, if you're thinking of getting your car washed, you might want to do it now.
And Maher says that's the kind of thing that should keep us up at night. Not soda, not cereal, not Trump's opinion on pronouns. And speaking of pronouns, should Trump have said there are only two sexes? Probably not the most tactful move. But are we really going to burn down society every time someone says something that doesn't fit into the latest woke lexicon? Maher's take. He's just happy to be one of the sexes. No meltdown, no think piece, just clarity, sanity. It's refreshing, right? Now let's talk about names for a second. Should the Washington Commanders go back to being the Redskins? Probably not. But Maher throws in a zinger here. Indians are hip. And yeah, he's joking. The point is, people are spending more emotional energy fighting over a football team name than they are fixing, say, the economy.
Oh, it's just that life is complicated, and Democrats need to be less emotional and more focused. Now, should the Washington Commanders be forced to go back to the name Redskins? Probably not, but, you know, Indians are hip. They know that the name of a football team will have the exact same effect on their actual lives as forcing people to do a land acknowledgement before porn videos.
If someone wants to wave a protest sign over a mascot, fine, knock yourself out, but don't pretend like it's a civil rights crisis. The way some folks carry on, you'd think a jersey redesign was going to collapse the republic. Meanwhile, real problems? Crumbling infrastructure, skyrocketing healthcare costs, an education system that's about as effective as a screen door on a submarine. But go ahead, let's scream about whether or not Alcatraz should reopen, or if Trump wants to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Yes, that was an actual debate, and the hilarious part? If Trump did rename the Gulf, the left would treat it like a constitutional crisis.
There's only so many fucks to give. And I just don't have any for the Gulf of America. Air quotes. That's how I'm fighting the little shit.
You'd have AOC on Instagram Live, tears in her eyes, declaring the end of civilization as we know it. Hakeem Jeffries would be pacing the halls, and Mary Gay Scanlon would fire off 10 press releases by lunch over a name change. It's not about geography, it's about control. And when they lose even a symbolic inch of it, they absolutely unravel. It's political theater. And Trump, he's the playwright, the director, and the star of the show. That brings us to the media. Sweet, sweet legacy media. CNN, MSNBC, and every outlet that's built their entire programming schedule around one man. Trump sneezes and they spin it into a 12-hour news cycle. They're not reporting anymore. They're addicted. And Trump, he's living rent-free in their heads, and not even by force. They invited him in, rolled out the red carpet, built a guest room. Now they don't know how to kick him out. That's not journalism, that's obsession. But Maher, he's not playing along, he's picking his battles. And his new motto, Trump got the White House, but this time, he's not getting my mind.
Right after he got elected in November, I said here and everywhere else I could, he got the White House, but this time he's not going to get my mind.
Now that is a line worth putting on a bumper sticker. He's not ignoring the bad stuff, far from it, but he's not reacting to every single tweet like it's the Cuban Missile Crisis either, because that's what the left does. They flood the zone with outrage, hoping that somewhere in the noise, people will start to see Trump as toxic. It didn't work in 2016, it didn't work in 2020, and here we are, heading toward 2028 with the same playbook, still yelling, still crying, still missing the point. Maher's entire entire argument boils down to this: save your energy for the stuff that matters. Focus your outrage. Don't waste it on soda ingredients or what Trump thinks about Meghan Markle's skincare routine. Also, side note, Maher said heroin is probably better than high fructose corn syrup.
First of all, sugar probably is better than high fructose corn syrup. Heroin is probably better than high fructose corn syrup. But I don't care because I don't drink soda.
He's joking, mostly. But here's the kicker. The left's outrage isn't working because it's so transparent. It's performative. It's all for show. If people see that you're only mad when it helps your narrative, they stop listening, and that's what's happening. Maher gets it. The average American is tuning out. They've seen through the media's smoke and mirrors. They don't want endless tantrums. They want solutions. And until the Democrats get that memo, Trump will keep living rent-free in their minds, and probably the White House too. So what's the takeaway here? If we're gonna argue about politics, let's at least argue about the stuff that impacts people's lives. Healthcare, climate, education, national debt. That's what matters. Not whether someone said there are two sexes. Not whether Coke has sugar or syrup. Not whether the name Redskins makes a comeback. Let the trivial stuff go. You'll sleep better, you'll think clearer, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get back to a place where political debate actually means something again. And one last thing in classic Maher style, vegetables are gay. Everybody knows that. Kidding, of course. But in a world that's lost its sense of humor, sometimes the best way to fight back is with a joke and a little perspective.
There's a lot of outrageous, horrible shit going on. Not all. We don't have to take off our shoes at the airport anymore. I like that. And I gotta say, I love it that Iran won't be getting a nuclear bomb anytime soon. And no, I'm not saying that because I sat down with him once and ate his green beans. I'm kidding, there were no vegetables.
So yeah, Democrats, stop acting like every Trump headline is the apocalypse. Get less emotional, get more focused, and for the love of green beans, stop screaming over cereal. If you're still with me, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop a comment below. What's your take on Maher's latest rant? Is he right? Is the left losing it? Or are we all just living in one giant political reality show? Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.